Robert.
Yo, it's shaking AC.
Well, that was a fast one. You
I
trying to
know.
get this over?
I'm just like on a roll. Like it's a new year. So I'm like, let's do it. Let's crush some cans or whatever you crush.
Okay. Did you ever do that thing when you were a kid where you like stepped on a soda pop can and you like then you'd walk so it would like stay on your heel?
I mean, I attempted that, but I was such a manly beast that the weight just caved the can.
Right, just disintegrated.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. So, all right, I got a question for you.
Okay.
New year, new goals.
Yeah.
Or not.
New year, new me.
Yeah, new you. So, what's your way that you approach goal setting? Do you start the year with new goals? Do you have like your own personal goals? Do you have business goals? Like, what are your goals? I don't know, top goals.
Listen,
Rant away.
my goals are always global domination in the spirit of Ryan Smoking. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
But I think I tackle goals a little differently than a lot of people. Like there's the traditional sort of method that you see in traction where you pick like your 10-year BHAG, big hairy audacious goal, and you scale it back to what happens in 3 years, in 1 year, in each quarter. And like we do that, but I kind of see that more as like goals that foster or go down a path of growth. Like this is my growth trajectory and this is how I'm growing. So let's meet these goals to continue meeting that growth trajectory. But to me, goals are actually, I always set ones that are like remarkable, for lack of a better word. Like I want to outpace the typical path, but I don't want to just outpace it in terms of growth trajectory. I also want to outpace it in growth direction, right? Like, for example, like being a franchisor, oftentimes franchisor goals are more locations. We're going to do 100. Next year, we're going to do 200, then 300, then 300, then 400, or whatever. Or it might be revenue. But to me, that's just taking the same trajectory and expediting it and setting goals around that. When I set goals, I'm like, what is something new that I can use, that I can go towards that actually makes a difference? Like creating a new revenue stream or making a massive multilateral, multinational partnership or, something that's really bold. Like I try to squeeze down my BHAGs because listen, I'm running out of time. I can't sit here and be like, all right, we got a 10% growth last month. Come on, give me a break.
Okay, sorry. So what I'm hearing is you like to chase shiny objects.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
They're not shiny objects. Like I'm not going to do like stuff that isn't relevant to what I'm working on. Like to me, a shining object is like, okay, I'm running a virtual reality arcade. You know what? Why don't we start an ice skating school? That is a shiny object, right? What I'm talking about is like, all right, you have a virtual reality arcade. Well, maybe we don't just focus on national growth this year. Maybe we focus on international growth, or maybe we work on partnering with a large Dubai oil baron who's going to finance us enough to build our own hardware or something like that. You know what I mean?
I guess it brings up a good question though about shiny objects. Like, what is a shiny object versus what isn't a shiny object?
Yeah, and I think you may have maybe exposed one of my pet peeves there. I get somewhat internally frustrated when people say, "Is that a shiny object?"
Mm.
Because they don't see the vision, right? Like, how could they see the vision? It's my vision. It's our vision. It's the leader's vision. People can't see that. That's why you have the vision. You were given it. It's your job to share with people the other vision. So when you have an idea or something and somebody calls it out as a shiny object, it may not be. They just don't hear the whole story. So I just want to say, whoa, 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 back up, cowboy. Before you start gunslinging words like that, let me tell you what I'm thinking, you know?
Yeah, well, that's why I want to ask it. Like, what do you see as the difference between something that actually is a shiny object versus something that isn't a shiny object? Like, how would you, if you were looking at someone else that was trying to grow a business and they wanted to go well, I won't even say that because that'll feed the information into you or create bias or whatever. What do you think?
Like, I don't know. What do you think?
Okay. What do you think? No, okay. So I feel like, okay, a shiny object. I'm on the spot just thinking this through right now, but I would say that for one thing, it's probably got a few traits, three, four, I don't know. We'll see how many come out here. But it's definitely, it's something, it's not only this, but it's something that you maybe didn't plan for. But that in itself doesn't make it a shiny object because sometimes something he didn't plan for is a good thing to do. Um, a shiny object is another trait would be that it maybe is off track of what you're doing. That's in my mind. So if it's not planned and maybe um like you said, like if you're running a VR arcade and then you go do like an ice skating rink or something, or ice skating lessons or whatever you said, school, like not really related. Although that almost could be related in some ways, I could sort of argue, but I think that would be something that where it doesn't, contribute necessarily to your purpose. And then a third thing on my mind when I think of a shiny object is something that's actually distracting you from doing what you already are good at and know how to make money doing. Like now, if you've got that figured out and something comes along, like if you're pretty solid in knowing how to make how your business model's strong, you're making money, your everything's working, everything's smooth, you're on track. And then there's this other thing. I think I would go, okay, like if that's good over here and the and it fits within our kind of what we're doing, and so I'm not distracted, I'm good, and it fits. And maybe it is out of the blue, but it makes sense because it fits and it's not a distraction and all that, then I feel like, okay, go for it. But I think a shiny object is when people are almost like the magic bullet sometimes, like, oh, this isn't working out. That might be the answer. And then like sometimes it's like, well, did you really try this and make sure that you're trying this? But sometimes you need that other way to do things. So that's not a shiny object if that's the case. So that's kind of my thoughts.
I agree. Um, but
Oh, wow.
you look surprised.
I know. It's actually, I don't
Um,
think that
y-
happens all the time.
but you said something there that got me thinking. It's like because you don't want to stifle innovation, right?
Mhm.
Um, it almost sounds like a shiny object is something that if you do, um, it will prevent you from doing what you were already doing without a reason. Maybe the reason is what I'm currently doing isn't working and I need to find something new rather than contribute to that. But if what you're doing is on a path and it's moving forward and all that sort of stuff and something new comes along, why not? Like you could do it. It doesn't even have to be associated with your business. You could be a serial entrepreneur and have two businesses or three or whatever, right? As
As
long as it
long
doesn't
as it doesn't impact, in my
affect
mind,
that.
if you're serial, some serial entrepreneurs are not even successful. You go to LinkedIn and they have like 30 things, and it's like, well, that's impressive. Like, but which one of those things is actually successful? Like, if
Yeah.
you got all these things that I actually get really, that's another, that's a pet peeve of mine. Serial entrepreneurs that think they're so awesome. I'm like, okay, you're a serial entrepreneur, but that's not necessarily a positive thing, Like,
Yeah. Those are big in the
anyway,
startup space. Here where I am, we've got a big, massive tech startup community.
yeah.
As in everyone has been part of some sort of SaaS system, and they're all like
Mhm.
CEO. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
CEO of
yeah.
what?
I know that cracks me up on LinkedIn, president and CEO, and it's like they're like a one-person show. Well, so you're also the secretary and you're also the
Yeah.
janitor.
Yeah. Titles are so
Anyway,
meaningless.
so yeah, so I think just to sort of summarize what we were or kind of what we were talking about here, that I think it's good to have goals, and I think as the year goes on, to like, okay, new things come up, and maybe just assessing, is it a shiny object or does it make sense to investigate and do it? Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Weird. I thought you were going to say something totally different. Okay, so I also will just add in that I don't love the pressure of like, oh, it's a new year, we have to have new goals. So I try to keep it simple. And I mean, my business is always going to have its goals, right? Like the business, that's its own thing. From a personal perspective, I try to take a look at like the different areas of my life and go, is there any areas that are not balanced that I should be balancing? And then try to
Yeah.
make a goal out of that. But
Look, if you're
let's try to
feeling
keep
that
it
it's a new
like
year and you need to adjust things in order to better yourself or better your business, the question should be, why weren't you doing that the rest of the year? That's what
yeah.
you should be adjusting is the fact that you sucked every other month.
Well, it's a time for people to slow down and recognize it. I think that's the point. But
Good.
anyway, well, you'll always keep things controversial.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay, three,
Three, two,
two, one,
one. Go
go
be
be
awesome.
awesome.